Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm officially a married woman. We got married on January 16th, so about a week ago. We'll be married for 2 weeks already in like a couple days, which is so crazy to me. I am so sad that it's already over. It went by so fast. The day itself flew by. Like at one moment it was like 9 a.m. and I was like, oh, we have so much time, and we were like slowly eating breakfast and getting ready, and then all of a sudden it was like 3 p.m. and we had to be at the venue, and then it was 11 p.m. at night. So the day definitely went by super fast, but it was the best day of my life. And honestly, if I could, I would go through it all again and plan everything all over again. So I thought it would be fun to film a video and give you guys my top wedding advice. These things really helped me out the entire time I was planning, and specifically the day of the wedding. So I figured I would share with you guys. If you haven't seen the other videos in my wedding series, make sure you check those out. I'll have it up on the screen and linked down below. Okay, so my first piece of advice, which is probably going to be really obvious, but is to save. I recommend saving as soon as possible. As soon as you get engaged, start saving. Or I don't know, if you're one of those people who are already planning their wedding and they're not even engaged, start saving right now. Like start putting money away for a wedding, especially if you want to have a big wedding. I recommend saving like as soon as possible, because a lot of the little things do really add up. And like I see it in all the wedding videos that I've watched, and like when I was planning, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have all that paid for already, nothing is gonna add up, everything's gonna be fine. No, I can say my credit card was pretty high the week of the wedding, because you start remembering things that you forgot, and like little things that you wanted to add, and just extra things that you pay for during the week. So definitely save as soon as possible. Plus, if you have an idea of the type of wedding that you want, you can start looking at the prices of the vendors and venues around you. That way you have a good idea for when you actually do have to start paying for things. You already have the money saved up. Luckily for Lavelle and I, we had a pretty long engagement. We were engaged for 2 years, almost 3 years with the postponement. So it gave us a lot of time to save and a lot of time to really map out everything that we wanted in our wedding, and allowed us to save that much money for our big day. And that leads me into the next tip. If you have a specific idea of how you want your wedding day to be and you dreamed about it for so many years, make sure you stick to that and don't change just because someone else says that it's not needed or that it's not necessary. If it's something that you want, stick to it. Definitely stay true to yourself, because you, out of all people, know your vision and what you want for your big day. Now obviously you want to consult with your fiance or your partner just to make sure that like that's what they want out of the wedding day too. Don't let anybody else tell you that you shouldn't do something, because that's not what they did at their wedding. Like if you think about it, like our parents got married in a different time and there was a different theme, different trends. It's very normal to go off with a traditional type of wedding thing. So basically just stick to your guns, stick to yourself, and plan the wedding that you want. And it's your day, not anybody else's. Alright, so my third piece of advice, probably the most important one, is to give yourself a break. Like I mentioned, Lavelle and I had a 2-year engagement. It gave me a lot of time to wedding plan pretty hard and then give myself a break. So for example, I would plan our wedding for like a month straight, and then I would give myself like 2 to 3 months off, or 2 to 3 weeks off from planning. But that's because we had a 2-year engagement. If you're getting married within a year, maybe try wedding planning for a whole 2 weeks straight and then give yourself 2 weeks off. But obviously do whatever is going to keep you on track, but you don't want to overwork yourself, because it's very overwhelming planning your own wedding, especially if you took the route that I took and not having a wedding planner at all. If you're having a wedding planner, it's being a lot different, but I planned my own wedding, so I had to give myself a break or else I would have went crazy. During those months off, I didn't do a single wedding planning thing. Like I didn't look at any of my checklists, I didn't contact any vendors, I didn't do anything wedding planning related. And honestly, it helped me out a lot, because when it was time to jump back into wedding planning, I was excited to plan again rather than feeling burnt out like I was prior to taking my break. My next tip is to have a wedding planning binder or a wedding planning notebook, just strictly for all of your contracts, all of your ideas, pictures, inspirations that you want. I don't like looking on the computer screen for like ideas and stuff. Like I have my Pinterest boards, and I have things like saved in Google Drive and things like that, but for me, I need to write it down to really like take all the information in, if that makes sense. So I had a wedding planning binder, and I kept all of my receipts here on one side, and then this side was like all of our details for the wedding. So I have a tab for details, I have a tab for all of our contracts, flowers and signs, which is like my inspiration. So I would write down like what flowers I wanted, what signs I wanted, where I wanted to buy them from, like how much everything was going to cost. Yeah, I recommend getting yourself a binder or some sort of notebook where you can keep track of everything. I would also recommend making a Pinterest board so you can see your inspo. I also use my Pinterest board to send my photographer my photo must-haves. I got a lot of my reception decor inspo from Pinterest. Pinterest was also a really big helper during wedding planning. So wedding binder and a Pinterest board are like something that you need to plan a wedding. My next piece of advice is when you're making your timeline, I would obviously make a timeline because you want to be on schedule, but I wouldn't worry too much about the timeline. So I spent a really long time making our timeline, making it perfect, sending it to all our vendors, getting all their opinions, just for us to not really follow the timeline throughout the day. Like, we did everything on the timeline, but we were late to the venue at 3, so that pushed us back a little bit. Took time from pictures and video. Our ceremony started late, and so that pushes everything back. But honestly, on the big day, I wasn't even worried about it. I was just listening to people when they were like, okay, you need to be here right now, we need to go do this. I didn't once think about what was on my timeline. I left that up to the vendors. They took care of it all. So I wish that I wouldn't have spent so much time obsessing over my timeline. So basically my advice is make your timeline, but don't obsess over it. Let your vendors do their job on your big day and you just enjoy the day. And this kind of goes along with my next piece of advice, is to hire a wedding coordinator if your venue doesn't come with one. I can't explain how amazing our wedding coordinator was. That's why I say don't pay attention to your timeline so much, and like if you're following it, because your coordinator will take care of all that. She'll make sure that everyone is in the right place at the right time. She'll make sure that everything is flowing correctly throughout the day. Thankfully, our venue came with a wedding coordinator, but if not, I highly recommend getting a coordinator. My next piece of advice is having a wedding website. So I used Zola. I had my wedding website through there. I had our RSVPs through there. We had a Zoom set up through there. And I used their guest list and invitations. I recommend Zola because, one, their website templates are amazing. They're beautiful. The website is so user-friendly. It's so easy to understand. It's really straightforward. My favorite part of it was that the guests were able to RSVP online, so that eliminates you having to get RSVP cards, mail them to your guests, and then have them mail them back to you. So on Zola, you'll input all your guest names, and you'll say where they're invited to. If they're invited to the wedding, rehearsal dinner, you can check off or check yes or no for that. And then the guests will go on your website, go to the RSVP section, they'll type in their name, and then they'll hit they're attending or not attending, and it'll go directly to you. You'll get an email or a notification on the Zola app saying this person RSVP'd yes or no, and it counts it right there for you. If you want to save paper and save time, I definitely recommend using Zola. There are a couple websites out there, like the Knot and Wedding Wire, they do the exact same thing. Zola just stuck with me better because they had more of my style for the templates and just the flow of the website. Okay, my camera died, so sorry if the lighting changed or anything. So something that we didn't do that I wish we would have done more of is take photos. So we hired a photographer and we have like the professional, like cutesy posy photos, but we don't have any iPhone photos. And it's something about iPhone quality photos that just, I don't know, have a special place in my heart. And I didn't realize this until after the wedding because, you know, we were just so consumed in the day. But I don't have a lot of pictures individually with like my mom and my dad and my sister and our my bridesmaids. I don't have those pictures. And I don't have some pictures with some guests that I wish I could have taken pictures with. Just like because those pictures like are on your phone already and you don't have to wait for photography to get back to you. So something I definitely wish we would have did on our wedding day. So if I can give you guys any advice at all, is to take a bunch of photos. All right, and then my last piece of advice is just to enjoy the process. Like I said before, our planning process was just very stressful, and at times it was very hard to enjoy it and look at the bright side and just remember like why I was doing all of this. But at the end of the day, it's 100% worth it. Like, I would go back and replan my entire wedding. I wouldn't change a thing. I would maybe change like a little bit of things here and there, but it was the best day ever. I've even considered like planning other people's weddings just because it was so much fun and I love weddings. I apologize if the light keeps changing. It's a really cloudy day here in Arizona, so gotta work with what we got here. But enjoy like taste testing, enjoy going to tour venues, enjoy looking for the vendors. If you take breaks like I mentioned earlier, you will be able to enjoy the process so much. That is all the tips that I have for you guys today. I don't know if there'll be any more wedding videos on my channel unless you guys have anything specifically you guys want to see, like a really in-depth video of how I actually planned the wedding. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any wedding advice that you would like to share, leave them down below in the comments, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. A lot of my reception decor in I got a lot of my perspective.
No friends of mine, no friends of mine around, yeah. Now I'm thinking I might have caught the June blue.